Chapman. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, March 25th, 1946, so I'll be 80 next month. I grew up in Gary, Indiana.
That's where Michael Jackson's from.
Right, 4 blocks from the Jacksons. I lived on Jefferson Street. They actually lived at 2300 Jackson Street. So in Gary, the streets on the west side were named after the presidents. So it was Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Jackson. But they lived at 2300 Jackson Street. I lived at 2456 Jefferson Street. So it was just 4 blocks apart. Some of the guys that I grew up with knew some of the older Jacksons. Played baseball, sandlot baseball with them because their house was right next to the school. But the way my family got to Gary was my father was also grew up in St. Louis. He was born in St. Louis and grew up in St. Louis, and he ended up going to Northwestern University, and then he came back to St. Louis in the late 1930s as a social worker. And during World War II, when all the white folks had gone to war, they had an aircraft company there called Curtis Wright, and they hired him as a personnel director for blacks at the time. And so he hired 1,600 black males and females to build airplanes starting in 1942, from 1942 to 1945. And then after the war wound down, he got laid off, and he was hired in Gary, Indiana to be the first director of the Urban League in Gary. And it was during that time that we found out that when he got to Gary, there was a lot of segregation. The schools were not integrated, the hospitals were not integrated, and there was a school strike where these white kids didn't want to go to school with black kids. And so one of his first jobs was to help settle that school strike and to bring everybody together to integrate the schools. But at the same time, black doctors were not allowed to admit their patients to the 2 white hospitals in Gary. And that was the second challenge that he had. So the first 2 black doctors to get admitting privileges to the white hospital in Gary was in 1947. So if you can wind the clock forward to today, this is 2026, 79 years later. If you could believe that the black doctors who were at United Medical Center, the hospital that just closed, were not given privileges at the new Cedar Hill Hospital. So that's one of the issues that we're working on right now. And of course, Cedar Hill Hospital now is the emergency room is overcrowded. People don't want to go to the hospital. They've had a number of incidents there. And so we're meeting with the people who run the hospital to bring those doctors back. The hospital is currently losing, from what I understand, $5 million a month. So again, if you can imagine, 79 years later, we're still going through the same thing. And of course, even yesterday, if you can imagine the current, and I won't call him president, had the nerve to depict President Obama and First Lady Obama as apes. I mean, we're in serious trouble right now, but we're going to get out of it like we've always gotten out of it, by sticking together. And but so if you say I'm a civil rights fighter, it's just that it's the right thing to do, and we know it's the right thing to do. And I've listened to all of you, and as African Americans, we've had 400 years of trauma. So what you're going through is trauma. It's not your fault. It's the fact that this country has always found ways to oppress and depress African Americans. And so your illness is a natural reaction, but you also fought back. And what I heard from all of you was what we call resilience. You were able to find somebody, something that gave you the strength, whether it was God or whether it was spirit or whether it was your neighbor or your family. You found a way. You found a way to recover, and so that's what we're about. That's what we're here for. The solutions to our problems are going to come from within the community, where we connect to each other, where we listen to each other's problems, and then we come together and make sure that those problems are taken care of. So that's really all I have to say.
Doctor, you joined medicine. What made you come into medicine rather than law or clergy or other fields? What was the reason that you joined the medical field?
So I can remember as a young man, my father would talk about different things. My mother would talk about different professions, and my brother, who was 10 years older than I, came to Washington to go to Howard University. I was 9 years old. So he would come home during the summer, and I would hear him talk about Washington, D.C. And so I always thought about coming to Washington, D.C. Someday I was going to come to Washington, D.C. It wasn't exactly what I had envisioned when I got here, but I was not disappointed. And I've stayed here ever since. So I've been in Washington for 62 years now.
62. Okay, great. So, Doctor, when you first moved to Washington, D.C., what area were you living in?
So I was in the dormitory at Howard, and then when I in my junior year, they didn't have space for the upperclassmen, so I got an apartment. I just drove by Bowen Road, Southeast. So I lived in Oxford Manor, and then I lived in Mulberry Plaza for a while. But I lived in Northwest near McKinley Tech when I was in medical school.
Okay, Doctor, you were in this city when MLK was assassinated.
When
Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated.
Oh yeah, I know exactly where I was. I was in Oxford Manor, and as soon as that happened, of course, riots broke out, and we actually went up on the roof of Oxford Manor, and we could look out over the city and see the smoke coming up. I'll never forget that day.
Yeah. Doc, anyone wants to ask anything?
Yeah.
I had a question too. Go ahead.
Please
I
go
was
ahead.
just saying, I lived on Marion Street, Marion and Q, right on the corner of 7th and Q Street. I saw the city burn. That was downtown D.C. About half a block away, I was right there. I saw all the damage, man. Tear gas, dogs, police. It was crazy.
people going into furniture stores,
Yeah, just
walking out with
walking out with everything.
everything. Yeah.
People said if you didn't have a black sign on your door, they would go through the window and pull you out of there.
That's right.
Crazy, man.
They were stopping buses, stopping cars, going up 7th Street.
Oh man, it was a bootleg. Big shot on 8th Street. How block away from Howard Theater. I've been in DC. Man, it's crazy. But like everything I've been through, it's just life, man. I gotta keep going through it.
But that was trauma too.
Yeah, that was definitely trauma. I was 8 years old. No, I was 9 years old. When I wasn't burned. I made it to but I didn't know what was going on. I have a dream speech. My grandmother took me to that.
Thank you.
You
I
was
never
there.
saw so many black people crying in my life. It scared me to death. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to think. I knew mine by a person. It was DC is my heart.
Yeah.
I lived in Northwest most of the places in Northwest.
Doctor, when you joined medicine, right? And then you were in general practice for many years.
Yes.
And then how did you switch into the drug medicine?
So I'm an internist. I treat high blood pressure, diabetes,
Yeah.
arthritis, heart disease, kidney disease.
Yeah.
But in 1999, a friend of mine was a grant writer for the Community Action Agency, and they had closed one of the methadone clinics, and he wanted to reopen, help them reopen it. So he wrote this grant proposal, but he needed a physician name to put in there. So he wrote my name in, and we actually won the grant to reopen the methadone clinic up on N Street, right off of North Capitol Street. And I tell people that I've been practicing medicine for 25 years, but I told people that it actually changed my life, because for the first time, I actually had to sit down and listen to not only the person struggles with opioids or cocaine or whatever drug at the time, but also what got them there. And the story was almost always the same. It was almost always some traumatic thing that they did not necessarily even recognize or talk about, just like some of the things I heard you talk about. You know, when there's violence around you, when there's unemployment, when you're living in a house with no heat, or the water's turned off, all that's trauma. And so, I began to think that when this person came into the clinic, that there's a history behind each one of those people, and it was up to us to find what that story was. And most people are not going to walk in and tell you what happened to them, because a lot of times they didn't know. They were observing certain things, like things that when you're growing up, and and I heard it here, that if you see your father fighting your mother, or all of that is trauma, and so you internalize that pain, and at some point in time you have to release it, and unfortunately a lot of times we use drugs and alcohol to self-medicate. So we understand that, and now when people, when that's explained to the person and they begin to understand it's not their fault, that they were being traumatized all their life, that they can then begin to deal with it. And one of the ways is sharing those stories, and all of us have stories to tell, no matter who we are or how so-called successful we appear to be. All of us have had some kind of trauma.
Yes. Doctor, when it comes to do you think there is medical apartheid in this city?
What?
Medical apartheid, like the blacks being
Apartheid?
apartheid. Do you think that is the case?
Absolutely. We are in an apartheid healthcare system. When you talk about the changes that are coming about right now, first of all, everybody should have health care. Health care, Martin Luther King said, of all of the forms of injustice, injustice in health care is the worst. And because we're all human beings, and all of us deserve access to health care.
Can I please ask my question? You asked like 6 questions. Can I ask the doctor a question? Dr. Martin King, last project, even though I'm a devout historian, reader, activist, poet, student, philosopher, but master of none, I just learned that Dr. Martin Luther King last project was on poverty. He worked diligently, and the government hid all of it. And you know, the first day I was in my history class, U.S. history in high school, when I first got to move and live with my daddy under his roof, I went home crying. I was in tears. And I said, Daddy, was this stuff real? Because I had homework, and I was traumatized. He said, yes, Ninny Boo. That's my nickname, Ninny Boo. And he said, you know what? I don't want you to cry about this, because you need to learn. You need to know the truth about your history, about your culture, about your people. I want my child to be well-rounded. That man, my father, went up to that school, spoke to that principal, had a conference with them, and the next day, my whole curriculum was changed. I didn't know a parent could do such a thing. That's love. Because I really went home shaking. I was disturbed. I was perturbed. And my daddy said, she ain't taking your class. He spoke to that teacher, a white man. She ain't in your class no more. She's enrolled elsewhere. And I got black studies. Woo! This teacher named Dr. Swan. See, Fairmont Heights, that school was originally built for the gifted and talented. That's the program I was in. I'm a nerd, everybody didn't know, but I'm a cool nerd. I'm only freshman that made varsity. Anywho, he advocated for his child, and that's when I knew that there was a God. Because that man, Mr. Swan, taught the unadulterated truth. And I got to learn about Phyllis Wheatley, Edgar, and Melvin, Martin, and Malcolm, and I just got to learn it. And that put a hunger in my soul, sir. Now, you say you've been here 62 years. And I know you know who Marvin Gaye is.
Absolutely.
And I know you know that he died at the hands of his own dad. And I know you know, well, you may not know this, but I worked at the jail. I worked at D.C. Department of Corrections 5 years. And that's where Marvin Gaye was. And he wrote most of his greatest hits. And you know his greatest one that I love, since I'm a grown-ass woman now, Distant Lover. I ain't no singer, y'all. Maybe you can help me, Nicole. But it goes, Distant Lover. That's what I got now. This man, I done been around and played around a lot of times. I ain't proud of that because that's sin. Because that's for marriage. And I'm not getting married. My love died. And when he died, part of me died. But I'm not dead. And I still got eyes. One eye, but I still look. Anyhow, this man's name is Michael. And that's my distant love.
Okay, thank you.
And my family lived 4 blocks from Marvin Gaye.
Thank you.
Dr. Chapman.
Yeah. And doctor, you see, sometimes some of the folks, like in this area, I was just talking next month, March 7, we'll have the discussion on why the median income in this District 8 and 7 are so low. Like here it is in the 34,000 something, and in the other districts there's like 150,000. So what is the reason, and how, you see, how can this be changed?
So let me go back to the new hospital.
Yeah.
And how when they closed the old hospital, they didn't let the
No,
black.
let's name that old
Please,
hospital. Greater
Monica, please let
Southeast. They
the doctors.
closed it.
Right.
And this new hospital went from sugar to shit within 6 months. I'm
Monica,
sorry.
please let the
I
doctor.
apologize. Go ahead, Dr. Chapman.
So there was a discussion before they even built the hospital as to who was going to run the hospital and who was going to staff the hospital. And they made a decision in 2018 that the employees at the old hospital would have to take a special test. The nurses would have to take a special test. And at the time, the physicians did not realize, but they did not want them to be at the new hospital because they gave the contract to George Washington University. And they also excluded Howard University medical faculty and students. So it's back to your point, without education, you can't raise yourself up, which means that other people were going to come into this community and take the jobs and run it
Takeover.
just
You
like
tell 'em.
just like it was a plantation. So what do we have to do? We have to demand right now to get those jobs that are needed to run that hospital. And believe me, there's every kind of job imaginable, from cleaning up to running the place, to running X-rays, etc. So all of that requires training. And so if you want to lift people up and raise their income, give them a good job.
They're not gonna give us nothing.
Yeah.
And let me just say, you said a mouthful, education. Because each job, I don't even have a job. I'm unemployed. I made a vow to myself to invest in myself. I could easily be working. I'm not gonna do it. I got 2 more years to finish this AA. I got 4 years because you know.
Monica, let me ask
Oh,
doctor.
you wait a minute.
Monica, please
I'm
let
going
Monica.
to make it.
Monica, please listen
No.
now.
I'm gonna leave calm on that note.
Monica, please listen to what doctor is saying. Okay, I'm here to listen to the doctor.
But I mean, her point is valid. That's the whole point. The jobs need to go to the people who live in the community.
Huh.
It's simple.
Doctor, the other thing was, you see, when it came to the dosage of certain drugs to help people, right? They had put a number which would not help the Afro-American people. So what was this thing? And you had to struggle so long for that, for the dosage of, I believe. Yeah, can you please shed some light on that?
Right. Well, there are 3 drugs, the 3 FDA-approved medications to treat opioid use disorder. But 2 of them we know actually reduce overdose deaths. And those 2 medications are methadone and buprenorphine, commonly called Suboxone, on the street. So those 2 medications actually save lives. But buprenorphine had a dosing cap of 24, in some places 16 milligrams, and other places 24 milligrams. And when fentanyl came in to play and replaced the heroin, we found that our patients needed higher doses of buprenorphine, but many insurance companies and many governments would not allow us to use that dose. So we did a study on my patients through the Howard University College of Pharmacy, and we proved that our patients did better on higher doses of buprenorphine. And finally, it was approved by the National Institutes of Drug Abuse, SAMHSA, or the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and the FDA and the district government in 2024. But a number of people prior to that time had gotten the wrong dose and didn't do well. And that accounts for some of the overdose.
Because when they did those tests, they did not test black people. And they put them medicines, those things in our bodies, which called the side effects are far more detriment than the benefit. Because they want to enrich pharmaceuticals.
Yeah,
I'm not even taking my medication. I'm off meds. And you know what? I never did or experimented in drugs. Never even picked up a drink and been drunk in my whole life. But you know what? I smoke them trees now. And I don't care who the hell hear it. Thank you. Sorry.
So they did find that, we do know that 95% of medications are only tested in a small subset of white males. They don't even use females necessarily. And so all the medications that we take have not been tested in our population. So that's one of the things that we're embarking on now. It's called pharmacogenomics. It means that we are going back to the motherland and getting what's called whole genome profiles on people in Africa, because if you know your history, that man originated in Africa and then spread across the world. So why not go back and get the original genomic data so that our blood samples are
They stole that woman's blood cell samples. You know her name. They stole it, and she produced all these daggone remedies that these white people are practicing. And she saved a lot of souls' lives. But what you don't know, that family was outraged, and they sold their ass, and they won millions. They stole from a black woman.
Doctor, this Frederick Douglass, the guy who lived here, who's my hero. Yeah, Frederick Douglass. In fact, I'm really inspired by Frederick Douglass.
Well, I always tell people we're on hallowed ground because we're at the foot of the hill where Frederick Douglass lived.
Yeah. He's such a great personality, and I believe more important than any president of the country, any. But his saying, one of his saying was, "We cannot stagger to freedom."
Yeah, so you know that Frederick Douglass suffered from alcohol addiction also.
Yes. So he overcame that.
But he overcame that because of his resilience.
He said, we right up the street from the house.
And he also was abandoned when he was 7 years old. So he grew up without a mother, well, for most of his life, without a father and without a mother. And look what he did. So it's, again, we're talking about resilience. Some of the most brilliant people have lived through trauma, but they use that trauma to turn themselves around, but also the masses of people.
Yeah. Doctor, you had initially talked about this nonsense that we have got in the White House, this piece of whatever, this kind of a person. With this, you see what kind of new challenges the people of color, black folks have with Mr. Trump over there.
I don't say his name, just say the orange man.
So
what do you think?
I mean, every day he proves to us that he's not right. So you don't.
You know what? Even a broke watch is right twice a day. Twice, 2 times a broke watch can be right. And that orange man taught me some new vocabulary. Fake news.
Okay,
Y'all
brother.
be good.
Okay.
Y'all be here next week.
You leaving something to get
Y'all be here next week.
Did you ever go to Columbia? To that location?
No transportation.
You better bundle up good.
Just
Yeah.
bus.
It's too cold outside.
Oh, it is. It is super cold.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
All
Hope
right.
to see you again March 7. March 7.
March 7th, I'll be there.
Okay.
Right here?
I'll be there.
Am I still invited since I don't?
Yeah, please,
post
please.
anything up?
And Nicole, you have to ask something. Please go ahead.
Oh, I don't have a question. I'm just listening.
Next time, plan some summer events. I'm a May baby. It's cold
Okay.
out here.
Doctor, anything you have in your mind, please, you want to share. I want to record it because it's important for people to know about your experience. You have been in public service for so long, and your sharing is very important so that the other generations come to learn from what you have seen.
So, just to sum up where we are today, I'm going to quote Neely Fuller Jr. He made a statement. He just died last year. I believe he was 94 or 95. If you don't understand white supremacy, racism, everything that you think you understand will only confuse you. If you don't understand white supremacy, racism, everything that you think you understand will only confuse you. That is what we're going through right now. So when you look at Donald, the Orange Man, you're looking at mental illness.
And it's finest.
And
Show me,
and
right?
so another reference would be Dr. Frantz Fanon, who was a psychiatrist, who wrote a couple of books. One of them was The Wretched of the Earth, and the other was Black Skin, White Mask. But what he explained was colonialism. And colonialism, the whole concept is the colonizer who thinks he is superior is mentally ill, but also the colonized, the person whose property and country was overtaken, thinks they're inferior. And so both of them are suffering from mental illness. One thinks he's better than the other, and the other thinks he's lesser than the other. And that's what you're combating, is white supremacy. But you ought to read Frantz Fanon, or just look up The Wretched of the Earth, and it'll explain to you how that system works. But that's what we're fighting against. When you see Trump making those kind of statements and trying to dehumanize the Obamas, he's trying to implant in your mind that he proves every day by the statements and the things that he does that he's ignorant. You know, I mean, I just laugh at it.
Mess to my president.
I wasn't.
The Obamas. How?
I wasn't shocked. I'm really shocked at people's reaction to it. I'm like, why are y'all clutching your pearls now? This is who he has always been.
That's who he's always been.
And I don't blame Trump for where we are right now.
Yeah.
This is who our country has always been.
Exactly.
And he has just emboldened.
And he's just
these
pulled.
people.
I tell people he
They're
just
very
pulled the
comfortable
covers
now.
back.
Yeah,
you know?
he
So-
did. I mean,
so
but
now,
he didn't cause this. This has always been who we are
Right.
as a country.
right. So if we're not those people who are not awake, or as they say, woke before, I feel sorry for him, because he told you, and the people around him. That's the bad part. That's the worst part. The people that support him is who I blame, because he could not do what he's doing unless he had support.
Nobody has a backbone
Right.
anymore. Things I never thought I would see any of this in my
Amen.
lifetime. Any of this.
If you don't know your history, it will definitely repeat itself.
And no, history is repeating itself over and over and over again, and it's always been under the guise of villainizing or dehumanizing a group of people.
But
Our group, just say
back to
It's not
your
always been our group.
back
It's
to your
been
not.
historical
To the Jews,
point of
the
view.
Mexicans.
If you think about right after the Civil War, during Reconstruction. You know what Reconstruction was. The slaves were freed, and we had more black senators, businesses,
Negro
etc.
rule.
And then they created what?
Jim
The
Crow,
black
the
codes.
black codes.
Yes,
black
the
codes.
black codes.
And that was to keep you down. That was to, and that's when the Ku Klux Klan rose to frighten you. You know, that's when segregation started. So all of this is designed to suppress, oppress, and depress our communities.
Thank you.
So it's history repeating itself again, and some people call this the new Reconstruction, which means we have to do what our forefathers did then, come together
I would not per se call
and
this
educate ourselves, educate our children, because that's one of the things, that's one of the targets was, if you remember, the first thing Trump talked about was banning CRT and banning DEI, banning critical race theory. They don't want you, they don't want us, they don't want our kids to know our history.
They can never be. That's supremacy stuff, and that's not the word I really wanted to use. It's inferiority. They fear the black man.
They fear.
And because they kept them oppressed for so long,
Right.
they target the women. They can't rape us or take us, but they damn sure try. But they killed that damn Angie Stone. I don't damn what nobody said. I'm gone. I ain't gonna see
And that's
you.
why they didn't want you to learn to read and write.
Doctor, I want to ask you one thing. Like, you seem you are not very happy with the present mayor, Bowser. What was the reason?
Because, as I alluded to France Fanon, she did, if you understand the principles that he talked about, the fact that the colonized become, the middle class of the colonized take on the attributes of the colonizer. So, so what you're seeing in the District of Columbia, when the mayor chooses to invest $1.5 billion in sports stadiums instead of affordable housing, a choice was made, and that's the wrong choice. I mean, that money should have been spent in housing, SNAP, ERAP, etc., to support the people and to support health care. And when you do that, then you lower illnesses, and instead of spending extra money on having to spend extra money on people who are very sick, you spend that money on preventive care. So it's how she spent the money.
You know what? We're not gonna beat her up, because that's politics. You don't know what backdoor alley meet or anything that woman had to do. Because on them news segments, when that mic was in that goddamn lady's face, she held her tongue. I knew that girl, Mama. She worked at St. Elizabeth's Hospital over 30 years. She was a nurse. I was best friends with her sister who died, Mercia Bowser. So don't come at me putting that on that man. She did the best she could. And I did not vote for her. But she earned my respect when she did the renaming of them streets on the Black Lives Matter banners. So give her a break.
Well, we gave her a break, but it's economics. You have to, you don't.
You don't know if they had a gun to her head.
No.
You don't know if they beat her or threatened to kill her mother. So I don't want to. I really don't want to hear that.
I'm not going to argue with you,
Okay.
but I'm going to disagree.
Yeah. Now, Doctor, but how do you compare Bowser with, I think you also knew Marion Barry. What is the comparison? Is there any?
Very different. That's why he had his faults, but he always, you remember, his focus was on employment. So he employed people in the community. The very first thing I said, that's why they said that there would never be another Marion Barry elected in this city because of that. They want people to come in who don't know you, who will come in and study you, and they'll make money without solving your problems. So if you really look at our healthcare system with Medicaid, the folks that you see, the faces that you see are not the people that control the money. Those people live outside of the city. And so they're making millions, billions of dollars off of our illness. You gotta understand economics. You gotta understand what's going on. And we can resist, and that's why I disagree with this young lady. We can resist by exposing the crookedness of these folks, which is what's happening at Cedar Hill Hospital right now.
Oh, I know.
Because the doctors who were there refused to send their patients there, and the patients refused to go there. So instead of George Washington coming in and making the money and taking it out, they're gonna let it fall.
No good luck. And you said what's going on? That was Marvin Gaye's other song. What's going on?
Right. But so remember what happened after the Civil War? You heard the sharecropping, right? So what the white folks did, they said, okay, you're gonna have to come back and work on our land. But you had to buy the seed from them, you had to rent the land, and you always stayed in debt. But what happened at that hospital when those doctors left, they said, we're not going back.
You heard of Ben Carson? Benjamin Carson. Let me just say this, sir, and I'm gonna get up out of here, because I don't like having outbursts, but this shit kind of makes me mad. Although the chains of slavery been removed physically, mentally, they're still there. And until our people wake up and rise up, we are always going to be oppressed, suppressed, and depressed. And frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn about that complaining. Get up and do something. What you going to do? What you going to do?
Doctor, you see, since we talked about Bowser, this year there will be elections. So whom do you think, what do you think you will decide which is the best mayor for the city?
I have no idea right now because all of the candidates voted for the stadium. They all voted generally along with her. So I'm not really sure what is different about the candidates.
What about Dr. Rhonda Hamilton? Now I got her flyers, I got her information. I've been a Democrat since I've been 18. I voted every year my freaking legal age limit. But she's an independent.
I know her very well, and she talks about housing, she talks about health care.
I had her flyers, I left them in my pocketbooks. I changed bags like I changed my drawers. Every other day. No, every day. I didn't mean to say every other day.
She's saying all the right things.
But what's she going to do? I'm studying her.
Well, you also have to watch who is supporting those candidates.
I support her, so what you mean, watch?
But if you see a lot of money coming in from the developers going to those other candidates, then including...
There is some corrupt. DC got some corrupt officers. And that daggone orange man had a point. Defund the police. I have respect for authority. But these goddamn officers, they are some corrupt. They are just cowards and punks with badges.
Yeah.
And I don't fuck with them. My family was PG police. Anybody from DC know PG and PG cop, DC cop beef. They had just like Southeast beef with Southwest. Northeast beef with Northwest. In DC, still to this day, don't fuck with New York or Baltimore.
Yeah. But doctor, you just mentioned Rhonda Hamilton. I saw one of your comments in the email. You are not pleased on seeing her with some of the folks. What was the reason?
Well, right now, I have a whistleblower complaint against one of the Medicaid managed care companies about how they steal money. And so I I sent that complaint to the Attorney General office for investigation. And but I saw a picture of her with the Attorney General and somebody else. And right now, I don't know whether the Attorney General is really in our corner or not, or because they haven't responded and they haven't released the report. And I'm the best at what I do.
Woo!
Yeah. And doctor, you see, there was a young guy, Dion K. He was killed, and then the case went, and he won. The family won $665,000. But this attorney general was trying to say, no, this is too much money. And the case was being fought by another mayoral candidate. Her name is Yeda Ford. She lives just around the corner here. So what do you think? You see, this attorney general is saying $665,000 is too much for a black teenager. What is this?
What?
Again, I don't know the details of that case, but I do know the details of my case, and I can prove that that there's collusion within the government. Because, like I said, we had a lot of people to die that shouldn't have died, and it's been in the paper. If you Google my name, it's in the paper. I fought with the deputy mayor for 10 years, and so it's no secret that I don't like him. I told him 8 years ago. I wrote a testimony that excluding Howard University Hospital was a mistake, and now I've been proven right.
They don't have no good luck.
Any more questions?
Yes.
Yeah,
Who's
please.
that? Wait a minute. Who's
Yeah,
that
please.
doctor? Dr. Sadie. You ever heard of him?
Dr. Who?
Sadie. He invented a cure for AIDS, and he was a black doctor. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
SEVI, yeah.
Tell him, Nicole. He
I
act
know
like he
people
don't
who
know.
follow him. Not many people know about him. Yeah, he's a naturalist.
Yeah.
What's your? I'm about to Google you, Chapman. What's your first name again?
Edwin.
Edwin.
Oh, I can spell that.
Chapman.
Dr. Edwin Chapman. I kid you not, I'm Googling you.
I'm gonna need an armed guard to get out of here.
Yeah.
Don't be scared now.
No, I'm not scared.
Knowledge is power. I just want to know.
Doctor, you want to add something more to what you said already? Please, especially with the upcoming election, what should the candidate's priority be?
Yes. Well, healthcare. Healthcare is number one. Employment, housing. As far as I'm concerned, housing is healthcare.
Yeah. So you see, you have always very correctly said that housing is, without housing, you see, you can.
If somebody's homeless and you try to take care of them, the costs go up 10 times, 100 times.
Okay. Anyone else wants to ask anything? Thank you.